Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear friends and students, Assalamu alaikum. I am Rehman, and the subject which we will cover in a series of video lecture is financial management. It is one of the special subject of business education. Inshallah, we will cover it with full explanation and full detail in video lectures. Most of the people of every country is doing their specialization in finance. So let's start the first chapter of financial management, which is Introduction to Finance. The outline of this chapter is 4. Finance, goal of finance manager, types of business, and 5 principles of financial management. Inshallah, after covering this chapter, you will understand that what is finance, why we study finance, what's the goal of financial manager, what's the type of business, and what's the main principle of financial management. So let's start the first section of this chapter, which is finance. Finance is the study of money, credit, asset, liabilities, banks, these all. In simple words, financial means money. The management of money is called finance, or we can say that finance is all about money. How can get it, how to spend it, how to use it. It is basically the management of money, income, resources of national, of organization, or personal, individual. And this, we manage the money and doing some different kind of activities like investment, borrowing money, lendings, these all. When we manage these all resources, then we call it finance. For example, you have a business and you need, for this you need capitals, cash. You go to banks to get loan. The finance will tell you that collect loan from that party, from that banks which give you loan and low interest, and utilize this money in a way which give you high profit and a low cost. It provides also loans. Finance is a defined that it provides loan to someone. For example, you want to purchase a car and you have no money. You go to banks for getting loan. When you get loan from banks, this loan is your finance, and the bank which provide you loan is the finance of the bank, because through this loan they raise their finance by providing you loan and an interest. Now towards that, what is financial management? As we say that financial means money. So financial management is the management of money. The financial management is a subject which provides you different techniques, different type of techniques by which you can make your money, your resources, your wealth of organization, of personal individual, of personal, in an effective and efficient way. Just like it helps you in making different type of decision, like investment decision, like capital structure decision, like working capital decision, that how you will raise your finance, how you will raise your fund, how you will raise your wealth of organization, how you will identify the expenditure, the cost, the taxes, the revenue, the profit of your organization, how you can manage your money, how you can manage your resources, how can you manage your wealth. Just like take an example of this date. This money note is my finance. Now, financial management will provide me techniques, different method, teach me that how I can use this money in an effective and efficient way, by which I can make more money from this money. How I can rise from this money, rise my finance. How I can utilize it in a better way. How can I get interest on these notes? The financial management will provide me all these types of information for these resources. Now let's talk about the little bit about the different subject, different courses, different function of finance. That what is the different courses, different field, different subject, different function of finance. The first one is money and banking. This is one of the subfield of finance, and this we studied that how bank raise their finance, how bank manage their money, how bank provide their loan. It have two types. Bank have two different types. The one is central bank and the other is commercial bank. Central bank and commercial bank. The difference between investment and money and banking, that bank take money from people and provide it as a loan on interest, and they raise their finance in this way. While investment, the second subfield is investment. Investment is basically that how we can make money from money. How we can make money from money. That for example, this is my finance. This is my resources. How can I make from this money? How can I rise from this money? And if I take loan from banks and then I rise from that money, then it will be, I will understand in money in banking and how bank provide me and which platform they will provide me loans. So in investment, we understand that how to make money from money. The third subfield of finance is financial economics. Basically, financial economics is one of the branch of economics in which we analyze our resources in a way which help in rising the financial fund. We have two basic types in financial economics. The one is financial institution and the other is financial instrument. Financial institution and the other is financial instrument. Financial institutions are those institutions which help in rising the finance, just like central banks, just like banks, investment bank, etc. And the financial instruments are those instruments which help to rise your finance, to rise your fund, to rise the wealth of organization, to rise the money of your organization, which is bonds, stocks, debenture, etc. These all are the financial instruments which help you to raising your finance, to raising your resources of your organization. The next subfield of finance is public finance. What is public finance? And public finance, we understand that how government accesses their revenue, their expenditure, and which way they collect taxes. Just like the example of nowadays that government increase the tax ratio. Why? Because they know that the money, the expenditure is high, the debt on government is so high, so they need money, they need to raise their finance, they need to raise their resources, they need to pay the debts on the government, so they increase the taxes, just like income taxes, sales taxes, GST taxes, all these types of taxes. And public finance, we understand that how government now about the deficit, how government now about the surplus of the government revenue, how they now about the national debts, how they manage these all types of money, how they manage these all types of expenditure, how they manage these all types of debts. So how government accepts revenue and expenditure, just like taxes, expenditure, deficit, all these, etc. So the next subfield of finance, the next subfunction of finance is personal finance. In personal finance, we understand that how individual and family manage their money, how individual and family manage their resources, their wealth in better way, how they use, how they spend and the resources of this in a good way. Just like how individual and family. For example, you have 50,000 rupees. Now the choice is yours, whether you buy a phone or invest it in a bank to get interest. If you know about the personal finance, then you will definitely invest it in a bank and get interest on it, and this way you will raise your money. Now the next topics, the next section of this chapter is the questions, the areas of finance, the questions which will face financial manager. There are three main areas of finance, three main questions which will face finance manager. The first one is capital budgeting. Or investment decision. Capital means equity, owner equity. Or long-term asset. While the budgeting means future planning. So the capital budgeting is the future planning or management of your long-term asset, that how you can invest, how you can plan for your long-term asset, how you can invest your asset, how you can raise your fund, how you can utilize your resources. For example, you have a project, you want to invest $10,000 in a project, and the project time is 10 years. Now, you, before investing the $10,000 in a project, you first identify that how can I get, how can receive, how can I recover this investment from the project, and how much time I will recover my this type of investment from this project, how much time it will take to recover my investment. The next one is capital structure. Capital structure is basically the long-term debts and the owner equity in a firm. And this, we know that how to utilize our long-term debts or equity or investment or finance or resources in a good way in a financial operation, to operate our financial operation, to operate our financial activities. It contains long-term debts, plus owner equity. For example, you have a business ABC, and the long-term debts in your firm is $20 million, and $50 million is your equity. Now, in capital structure, your finance manager will take decision that how I can utilize these my debts, these my owner equity in financial operation to rise my finance, to rise my fund. The next and the last area of finance is working capital management. What is working capital management? Working capital management is basically the short-term asset of a firm. That how a financial manager take decision about the short term of asset of a firm, how they can utilize it in a good way, because we can't use it again and again. Just like, for example, plastics, papers, cash, inventories, these all are the short term asset of a firm. For example, you have a business, you have a short term asset in this business, just like markers, just like cash inventories, just like plastics. Now, in this working capital management, your finance manager will take decision, good decision, try to take good decision to utilize it in a good way, to utilize it and rising the fund, because we can't use it again and again, and we can say that it is the liquidity of a firm, because we can convert it easily into cash. So this was just the definitions, the purpose, that what is the area of finance, what is the structure, what we will do in capital budgeting, what we will do in capital structure, what we will do in working capital management. Inshallah, and further lectures we will explain it with full detail, with full numerical problem solutions, because it have a separate subject, separate parts in financial management books. This was just the definitions, the purpose, that what is the main area of finance. Now, the last topics of this lecture is why we study finance, what the purpose of finance, what help finance in our daily routine, what help finance in our firm, why we study it. So let's discuss it. Why we study finance? We study finance for different purposes. It understands us that how we can utilize our money, our resources, our wealth in a better way. It helps us to take critical decision in a good way, that how we can take a good decision for our finance. It helps us to improve our skills, to improve our personality, because if we know about the finance, then we will utilize our resources in better way. The skills will be improved. It because of finance, we know the resources of finance, that how we can get interest on our resources, how we can rise our finance, how we can utilize our short term, long term asset in a good way to rise our finance, how we can get interest on it. And there are so many of functions or benefits of finance. When we study finance, when we know about finance, then we utilize it in a form. If we know finance, then we will know how to raise our fund. If manager know about how to finance, how to take financial decision, they will successful in their business, because finance is one of the most important part, one of the most important subject, one of the most important field of any business, because finance include investment, capital budgeting, borrowings, financial resources, just like stocks, bonds. These all you can utilize it in a better way to rise your finance. So this was just all about our today lectures. Inshallah, in further lecture we will discuss this: what is the goal of financial manager, what's the types of business, and what's the 5 principle of a management. So if you have any question in all the today topics, you can ask in a comment section, and inshallah I will try to give a solution in next lecture and next lecture video. So your comment will be highly appreciated, because we are students and we try to provide you a knowledge in a better way. So take care of yourself and stay with us. Wassalam, Pakistan Zindabad. Zindabad.